Hey, Miguel Iturrate back here on the CRP, and I am joined by Snake Eyes. What that means is we're going to talk AEW. The All Out pay-per-view is just days away, August 31st in Chicago. You want to check your local listings for start times. There's a warm-up show, and then there's the main show. A lot of stuff going on, and we're going to go through the news as we enter Fight Week here. Snake Eyes, I know that they added a match. Why don't you lead off with that?
Sounds good. Well, in yesterday's being the Elite episode, in quite a weird way to set, in my opinion, we saw Christopher Daniels outside pumping gas at a Dynamart. When he gave a phone call to Kaz, Kaz was outside of a Chuck E. Cheese's by himself. And when Kaz called Scorpio Sky was watching The Jungle Book. Now, if you put all those three elements together, that was Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, and Marco Stunt. Well, we soon see a clip of John Morrison walking Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy are walking John Morrison's dog. Eventually, they all parkour away, and a match is set with SCU against Luchasaurus, Marco Stunt, and Jungle Boy. Weird way
Yeah,
to weird way to start.
we've been talking about where are we going to see Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy again. We hadn't seen them on the last show. They took a show off, kind of thing. They've been doing a lot of skits and vignettes and stuff like that. But actual in ring time, we were hurting them when we were going to see them. So here we get them in a 3-man tag with Marco Stunt. Now, I'm up and down on Marco Stunt. I mean, I appreciate the work the guy puts in, but I don't know how. Like I said, I don't, off the air, I don't think that they're ever going to be like, all right, Marco Stunt versus Kenny Omega, how are we going to build this feud up? He's not that kind of wrestler, but definitely, I think this would be a fun match. What do you think?
I think it's going to be a very fun match. Jungle Boy has got a lot of potential. Luchasaurus, I mean, let's face it, if the guy didn't have a green beard and a mask, he'd probably be in WWE because that guy is so crisp in the ring. And you can't find a guy that's that big with the martial arts background that he has. And I agree. Marco Stunt, if we ever do see a Kenny Omega versus a Marco Stunt, I hope it's a minute match and nothing more than that. I don't want to group him into the comedy side, like with Orange Cassidy, because Orange Cassidy can work, but I think they signed Orange Cassidy more toward the comedy role with his hands in his pockets, kind of laid back. And Marco Stunt's kind of like the Fortnite character of AEW.
Yep, and here on the first show, we're going to get a dose of them. Let's go over some of the other news because over the weekend we almost lost one of the feature fights, and one of the Lucha Brothers was supposedly injured on Friday, and then he was fighting on Saturday again, and there was all kinds of news. Why don't you put the weekend together and talk about how we almost lost the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers?
Well, reports did come out on Friday that Ray Phoenix had suffered some sort of leg injury in a match for Big Time Pro Wrestling on the East Coast. Reports said that he threw a super kick and immediately collapsed to the ground, rolled outside, signaled for help, and got help to the back. Big Time Pro Wrestling did release a statement saying he never suffered a broken leg or a leg injury, and he was supposed to wrestle Saturday night. I was doing a little bit of Googling before we live. Have any results for the show on Saturday night for Big Time Pro Wrestling?
But as of right now, the Lucha Brothers are in the match with the Young Bucks on Saturday. How do you see the Friday? What's your take on Friday's incident with one of the Lucha Brothers? Only because the promotion came out and said he was never injured and stuff like that, but the descriptions of what happened in the ring were kind of weird, because he did fall out of the ring and he was asking for help, and it's not your traditional, injury ending to a fight or anything like that. And now they're trying to say it's a work. So, what's your take on it? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't see this as a supposed finish for the match the way it was supposed to happen. Sorry, somebody was calling my phone there for a second. But I think maybe he may have strained his leg, or maybe he just felt like he had injured his leg. And obviously, with a week away from All Out, it's all precautions are up right now. I'm gonna do a little bit of digging later today to see if he did work the tag match that he was supposed to Saturday night with Pentagon. And then I will, if we talk later tonight for Raw and SmackDown, we can definitely talk about that as well.
Okay. Now let me ask you this question here, and let's go over it. In terms of AEW, they seem to be, the wrestler-friendly company right now in the war, so to speak. And one of the things that they've been doing is they've been allowing guys to do fights on the indie scene and with other shows and with old associations and stuff like that. And this scare on Friday really was the second one after the Moxley one, and Moxley was off on a tour. Omega's new promo, kind of calls him on that. Fighting in Japan a lot and doing the indie circuit as much as Moxley did after leaving WWE, and then you wind up injured. It's not a big surprise. Is AEW going to have to curtail some of those appearances they're allowing people to do? Or, are they going to have to become a big company at some point, like, quote unquote, big company?
Well, it all depends on if they add more people to their roster, I think. If you add more people to your roster, then sure, give the guys a little more freedom because if somebody goes down, you do have a good replacement, waiting in the background, so to speak. If they don't sign more people to their roster, they're gonna have to curtail at least some of the independent bookings. 'Cause, we got guys that are working New Japan, we got guys that are working CMLL, we have guys working AAA. It's eventually all those bumps add up on your bump card, and you can't stay young forever.
Yeah, it does have an effect. And then, on top of it, the fact is in some of those places, they do play rough kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's like, that's part of the appeal and part of actually, I think what the appeal is to the workers too, if you're a pro wrestler that came up through the indie circuits and stuff like that, you're used to doing the hard work, streamer matches and things like that. And that's, and then everything you said doubles, or whatever. There's more of a factor to it on the wear and tear and stuff. So for right now, they did do a good job with the pack replacement. We talked about that on another podcast. People can go ahead and check that out. What other AEW news do we have? We had 10 women announced for the Battle Royal that's in the preliminary show already. Any new announcements in terms of women?
Not yet, no, but there's still we still got 4 days to go, and I'm sure All Elite Wrestling's YouTube will post something here pretty soon.
Yep, or maybe they go with half the roster as a surprise. That'll make I consider the prelim show already kind of must-see TV kind of thing. You can't miss that. But if there's 10 that are a surprise, it really is going to be compelling because they can come from anywhere. And in the WWE, you always knew, okay, we're going to get Trish Stratus or some of the fighters from yesteryear and the girls that were on the roster and stuff like that. But here they can literally pick from anywhere. I'm excited.
Same here. I'm actually hoping for at least one former WWE diva to show up, and I really want Kelly to show up. I'm just saying, I would blow my hat off my head if Kelly showed up at AEW. That was like my teenage crush right there.
Yeah, she was. She in her day was the top female name on the WWE roster. Everybody remembers her. That would be interesting. I'd like to see some of the TNA girls. I thought were putting in real hard work at some point, like Brooke Tessmacher, Gail Kim's a stud, and I think filling out the roster with girls like that have put in some real solid work, would really help them out, and raise the level of it a little bit in terms of what we've seen. It's all been good, but they're missing that A+ athlete. Nyla Rose still has a lot to prove to me, and she's going to kind of be a giant among the women anyway. But I think, they're still missing that A' athlete, like a Gail Kim or someone like that. and I'd like to see that pop up here in the Battle Royal.
Completely agree. Yeah, Gail Kim would be enormous for AEW if she arrived there. That would be enormous for that roster of females to learn.
Yep. And at any rate, the All Out pay-per-view is this Saturday in Chicago. My mate here, my compadre Snake Eyes, is going to be at the show, so we're definitely going to get a good feel for the event. In the build-up here, we'll probably do another show as we get more news. But we wanted to recap a lot of the news, the new match, the Lucha Brothers incident over the weekend, and a lot going on with AEW, the pay-per-view coming up this weekend. And then after that, we got about a month, and then we're watching AEW on TV.
Time is flying by.
Yep. Any final words on AEW, or we'll meet tonight for Raw and SmackDown recap?
We will meet later tonight for Raw SmackDown. I am long overdue for my first cup of coffee of the day.
All right, brother. Then go about your day. That is our AE. As we said, the All Out pay-per-view is this weekend, covering the news with our insider, Snake Eyes.